Greetings! Welcome back to the Osha Cerese Show. I am your host, Osha Cerese, and this is your daily reset. This pop up show is here to give you culture meets coaching, where healing meets headlines, and where we utilize alchemy to transmute gossip into growth. Thank you all for tuning in. If you are not already subscribed to my channel, please do so now. This is where the channel lives. It resides on YouTube. So youtube.com/@Asha the link is in my bio if you are watching from Instagram. I can see Instagram comments as well while I'm streaming. If you see me looking over here, that's what I'm looking at. So please do me the favor. I'm growing my channel. So far, we've grown, slow but steady. I'm appreciative of all the new subscribers. I got some new content uploading for you as we speak. I have a lot in the back office getting prepared to release to you all. So please stay tuned, subscribe, and not only subscribe, but also hit that bell, turn your notifications on, because this is a pop-up show. You never know what time I may pop up on your screen. I'm not liking the angles. Hold on. There we go. There we go. All right. So, again, welcome back. This is episode 32. We getting it in. Episode 32 of the Osha Cerese Show. And again, I'm Osha Cerese. I'm a certified life coach. I am an event curator, some new events coming soon. And I am a dream doula, supporting you with birthing your ideas, bringing them to life. So happy Thursday. I hope you all have enjoyed your day. I hope you are having an amazing week. I've literally been listening and talking all day long. Literally was woke up out of my sleep. I'm not going to call out names to talk and unpack some things with somebody. And, been talking all day, literally. I've been creating content and I've been talking and supporting other people. So forgive me, if my voice gets a little rusty. The drink of the evening tonight, because I want to avoid the rusty throat, is hot tea. And not only is this for my throat, but this is also for my womb. This is red raspberry hot tea. So red raspberry leaf tea. So cheers to the good life. Cheers to happiness, great health, love, abundance, joy, bliss, peace, safety, protection, covering, faith, trust, being able to adapt and adjust to the shifts that are coming our way, and for them to guide us into a better direction. Just cheers, y'all. Cheers. And this is my specially made cup. I made this cup years ago. It says originality. This is one of my Orchid Life for my youth enrichment program. The O in Orchid stands for originality. So this was one of the products that I had, was a originality cup. And this tea is so good. Let me get a few gulps in, y'all. Let me just get my moment. Hold on. It is so good. I got some agave in here, and I got some of that Thrive powder that I told y'all about before that has some of the superfoods in it. I poured some of that in there as well. Yes, Lord. Absolutely. That is amazing. Perfect. So, again, happy Thursday. Happy March. And as you all know, March is Women's History Month. We celebrate Black history all year as well. But Women's History Month, we're going to be highlighting some amazing women, some women that inspire me, that I admire throughout history and of today. So far, we've talked about Eartha Kitt. We've talked about Issa Rae. So as you can see, you never know what genre, what time period of woman I'm going to highlight or spotlight. So today's Women's History Spotlight is the amazing, incredible, honorable Dr. Maya Angelou. Dr. Maya Angelou, depends on who you ask. She was a poet, an activist, an author, and a true cultural icon. Her journey is one of resilience, wisdom, and transformation. You know, when we had to dress up as different civil rights leaders or people in history back in the day, I dressed up as Maya Angelou one year. I remember it very vividly. I had my mom's coat on. I had some little fake glasses. I think I had some freckles drawn on and a little bit of red lipstick. I can remember the auditorium. I don't remember what I did. I think I may have recited some fun facts about her, like I'm about to do today, because some of them, as I was taking my notes, definitely sounded familiar. So, shout out to the word. What up, though? Are you in Detroit? um, so Maya Angelou, Dr. Maya Angelou, let me put some respect on her name, was born Marguerite Ann Johnson on April 4th, 1928, in St. Louis, Missouri. She experienced a traumatic childhood, including SA, at the age of 8, which led to her not speaking for nearly 5 years. So imagine how traumatic that experience had to be for her to become basically a mute for 5 years. Despite her hardships, she found her voice through literature and arts. Like, someone who literally did not speak for over 5 years is one of the most famous poets in the world. So she is the first African American woman to have a screenplay produced in Hollywood, Georgia, in 1972. She published seven, not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, not six, but seven autobiographies, with I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings in 1969, making history as one of the first books to openly discuss racism and sexual abuse. Excuse me, y'all. Allergies. She became a prominent civil rights activist, working with both Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X. She recited her poem on the Pulse morning at former President Bill Clinton's 1993 presidential inauguration, making her the second poet ever to even perform at a presidential inauguration. She won over 50 honorary degrees and received the Presidential Medal of Freedom from Barack Obama in 2011. She wrote and performed the legendary poem Still I Rise, which continues to inspire Black women globally, absolutely. And she did pass away May 28th, 2014, at the age of 86. Some of her most famous quotes: I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. People will never forget how you made them feel. Let me repeat it because I messed up. I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. If that's not facts, I don't know what is. Like, you remember how somebody made you feel. You might not know what they said verbatim. You might not remember exactly what they did, how they did it, what exactly, penetrated your heart and your soul like that, but you're definitely going to remember that feeling that you have. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. If you've never received any advice from an elder, take that. And the other one is, we delight in the beauty of the butterfly, but rarely admit the changes it has gone through to achieve that beauty. Whoever acknowledges the caterpillar, whoever acknowledges the time in the chrysalis or the cocoon, everybody just want to talk about how beautiful the butterfly is. All that metamorphosis, that transformation, that time within, that darkness, that shadow period. Let's talk about that too. So, peace to our ancestor, Dr. Maya Angelou. She is our Women's History Month spotlight of the day. So the word you said, yes, the Burbs, and you grew up on the east side of Detroit. Okay, what up though? I don't know nothing about Detroit, but what up though? Gary Busted Down Brown, I like that username, says evening to the hostess, mods, and chat. That would be all three me, but thank you. All right, all right, all right. Yes, so the word says, I say it, but need to practice it on a consistent level to believe them. Yeah. I got to start remembering that I have these features to highlight y'all comments. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to those of you listening and staying tuned on uh, Instagram as well. I appreciate y'all. All right. So let's get on into these topics after I go ahead and sip a few more sips, gulps, whatever you want to call it, of this good tea, because I don't like my tea when it's not hot. Hold on. Mm, mm, mm. I snapped on this tea. It has the perfect amount of agave in it. It's so good. Mm. All right, let's get into it. So, the first topic I wanted to speak on today is relationship lists. You know, when people say, I made my list, I have my list of their perfect ideal mate. A lot of people have shied away from making lists, and some people have just started making lists, and some people feel like it's crazy to make a list. But I'm going to tell you this. I love me a good list, and I also support my clients on creating their lists as well. But I'm going to tell you some of the key factors that we have to make sure we don't exclude when it comes to making the list. So, the reason why I decided to talk about this, there are two viral posts going on Threads that I've seen, one last week that I saved, and then one that I just saw today. And these are actually men's lists that have either been exposed or been shared. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what was on these lists. So let me go to my saved posts. The one I saved last week, it's a little bit challenging to read, but I'm going to try. So this one is a comedian named Matthew Hudson, and I guess his future wife list got leaked. It looks a little something like this. So, all right. So he even has it down to the fact of how they meet and everything. He's real detailed. He says organic meeting, preferably in a space where our visions align. God usually gets my attention this way. He has scripture, Genesis 24, 1 and 2, Genesis 24, 12 and 21. And he points down to heart posture, heart posture of humility. I'm telling you, I was a little challenging to read. Um, he has a little key as well. He has asterisk by important. So anything he has an asterisk next to is really important to him. He has right place at the right time in quotes. After Genesis 24, 12 and 21, he has it pointed to pray for, is it Kara? Good success. Night happening, right happening. It looks like night, y'all. I'm telling y'all, I can read. Right happening, prayed happenings, God's help, intervention, and his leading. Then he has nice to have. She be praying. And that's asterisk on both sides. So that's important to him. Asterisk, she got to be kind, parentheses, sweet, receptive, woman of grace, has sackle wisdom, prudent, her wisdom that leads to good success. Okay, understands biblical rest, astrages, boasts, and weakness, proactive in how she can add slash be beneficial, helpful to the God, no, to the vision God has for him. Knows, this is asterisk, knows the importance, and it's highlighted, revelation of how much she is loved by Jesus. Gotta love kids, desire to be a mother, would love a woman that plans, creative, loyalty, cheerleader, genuinely cares about things that interest him, loves to laugh, committed to local church, understanding the importance of quick resolve, asterisk and highlighted, a friend, enjoyable, warm, welcoming. It from a friend, it's pointed down to a highlighted. My wife may be a friend. I know already. I would something. I don't know what this is. I would for us to have a friendship. I'm telling y'all I can read. It's his writing. Committed to, okay, I read that already. Understand, okay, boom, read that. Astrages highlighted car can budget well. Knows father. And now I don't know if he's talking about the spiritual father or her own father. Um, Physical attributes, preferably dark chocolate skin tone, but open. Astrich only wears weave when wearing braids, and that's also highlighted. Good sense of style, solid cooking skills, healthy eater, in shape. We can work on this together. Keeps her space clean, house slash car. Astriches highlighted. Currently not having sex until marriage. Parentheses, she don't got to be a virgin, but she can't have had too many sexual partners. Okay, so then he has a list that says, nah, I'm good, with a no sign and a red flag. All of these have astrages. Careless with words, medium to big pets, wears weaves by choice more than 90% of the time, no lace fronts, always working, no balance. I'm not your assistant. That's just how I am. Horoscopes, indecisive. It's not enough to only believe in Jesus. Strong black woman, feminist. Um, Itching ears, loud, excessive need of space, lack of friendships and accountability. This is underlined in astrages. Had deliverance more than 3 times. My relationship with God is not like most Christians. I'm doing the Daniel fast. Rough hands. Overly critical, wears flats by choice. Too friendly. Excessive use of God told me. Oppressed, and that was astrages underlined. Oppressed by demonic influence. Never wants to drive. Astrages underline, has road rage. He's open to taller. It says she be smelling good. Highlighted astrages, a nice laugh, cute, soft hands, good heel collection. Open to other races. Parentheses and points to this, not that open, maybe a couple of other races. Do I want to be a stepdad with question marks? Parentheses, mother's been looking good lately. She don't gotta be thick, but how much money I need to get this type of woman. So that's his list. Let me go to some of these comments before I go further. Gary Busted Down Brown says nice flow list and tell you this. Right. I was rhyming a little bit right there. Nice to see someone with a preference from the inside out. Usually people's preferences today is inside in. Facts. Outside in. My bad. Can I read? It's been a long day. So, I mean, hey, he's very clear on his list. It seemed like he just wants him a nice looking, friendly, kind, well balanced, nurturing, feminine, God fearing Christian woman who is active in her faith, who, um, you know, it looks good to him. Doesn't have to be perfectly in shape, but somebody that's, healthy, and he'll work on that with her. I think a lot of the things on his list are really wonderful. And specific for him. So I don't see anything wrong with it. If it's perfect, he's open. So it's not like everything is just, it has to be this, it has to be that. He has a little bit of room for, you know, a little wiggle room. But he's pretty specific, and I think it is important to write things out. Um, and hey, why not? So let's go to the other man's list, and then we'll discuss. Actually, let me read some of the comments of this brother's list. Um, Someone said, "Man, that man unfollowed me because I didn't make the first move. I wasn't even interested like that. I just supported because he was Christian. He weird." And then he commented and was like, "She can't be talking about me because this is not his post. This is somebody who shared his post." And then someone else said, these are women's comments. This was a great list until I say feminist listed as a red flag. I guess you meant soft. Um, why would you want a woman who doesn't think women deserve basic human rights? To demonize strong black woman as a black man, I'm using that term loosely, is disappointing. The strong black woman is a powerful thing. She uplifts, nurtures, supports, and empowers those she loves and cares for. And it was born of the actual black man being torn from his family and the role she had to take on to fill those gaps. You must have been trying to go viral because nobody released your little journal. No one even knows who you are. Good job, though. You got some responses. You want soft hands or fit girl in the gym 5 times a week. So I think they're being a little rough with him. I don't think anything was wrong with his list. I think people are getting a little bit too offended. Feminist is not necessarily the part where it's like women wanting equal rights. I think it's more so of like those feminists that are all the way on the other side of being man bashers, men haters, don't want any space for men to exist. I think that's what he means. I'm just saying. And then strong black women, me as a black woman, I don't want to be labeled a strong black woman. I don't want to have to be strong. And so with him saying he doesn't want a woman, basically he's saying he don't want a woman who's hyper independent, who doesn't allow him to doesn't allow her to herself to be vulnerable enough to allow him to step in his role as a protector or provider, or to lean on him, depend on him. Sometimes people just be finding flaws in everything. Relax, girl. Relax. Gary Busted Down Brown says a well-fed mind can produce. Why can't I talk today? I'm telling y'all, I've been talking since literally I was I was. Is it awoken? I was woke up by a phone call, and I've been talking ever since. A well-fed mind can produce wonderful thoughts. People personalize and associate people's opinions with their lives, just insecurities. That's true too. And I be doing that too sometimes, trying to relate to stuff, but everything don't require you to be offended. That's his list. I remember when I first saw that post, the first woman was like, "Oh, I almost fit the bill, but I'm light skinned." Like, girl, he said that he's open to other things. Like, y'all just want to say something. He said he's open to other skin tones. So if you fit everything else on his list, that means that most likely y'all might be a possible match, girl. Okay, so this other list, this creator is Eche Nzinga. And he says, so my single friend just handed me his ideal wife checklist, and I'm low-key stunned at how detailed this man is. So he says he handed it to him, but it's literally typed out. It's not like the journal, it's not like the journal like the other guy had. So let me just slow down, because maybe I'm talking too damn fast because I've been yapping all day, because the tongue twisters is getting on my nerves. Hold on. Now let's see if I can read now. So it says the ideal wife, a unified vision, last updated February 21st, 2025. A woman who pours into me, allowing me to soar higher than I could alone. I love that. Title, shared identity and commitment. She embraces our union by sharing my last name and fully committing to our journey together. She understands why she is in this relationship and what it means to be a wife, consciously giving and receiving in a way that nurtures our bond. Let me read that again. She understands why she is in this relationship and what it means to be a wife, consciously giving and receiving in a way that nurtures our bond. Financial unity and transparency. We operate as a team financially with transparent finances, ensuring mutual trust and aligned goals. Hold on, y'all. My allergies. Every time I drink tea, it makes my nose run. Excuse me. Okay. So we operate as a team financially with transparent finances, ensuring mutual trust and aligned goals. Deep concern for my well being. She is attuned to my emotional and physical state, always aware of what is happening in my life. She checks in regularly, asks about my challenges, and collaborates with me to find solutions. I like that. Collaborates. Okay. Respect, kindness, and encouragement. She speaks with kindness, never using insults, belittlement, or disrespectful words. She treats me with respect, ensuring our communication is uplifting rather than destructive. She focuses on my strengths, encourages my growth, and amplifies the things I do well. Not him describing me. She's humble and non Okay, humble and non-critical nature. She understands that people cannot be changed from the outside and accepts me as I am today while supporting my growth. She refrains from unnecessary criticism, fostering an environment of encouragement and self-improvement. True honesty and emotional depth. She knows herself well, communicates with clarity, and means what she says. She speaks with honesty and authenticity, ensuring our relationship is built on trust and transparency. Investment in my personal journey. She takes the time to understand my intrinsic gifts and encourages me in the areas where I am most likely to succeed. She speaks to my strengths and actively helps me refine my purpose and identity. Emotional fidelity and loyalty. She refrains from comparing me to other men and does not reserve her best treatment for those outside our relationship. She is truly loyal, avoiding discussions or behaviors that imply other men as options or points of comparison. Physical presence and engagement. She is physically present, engaged in our shared experiences, and committed to building a life together. A mindful household. She values a life of intention, incorporating elements such as meditation, continuous learning, prayer, church attendance for meaningful sermons, and conscious philanthropy. Philanthropy. Um, Consistent and intentional communication. She communicates openly and consistently, understanding the importance of discussing issues and staying connected. We align on how we prefer to communicate, response times, calls, texts, and frequency. A true partner in building a life together. She shares my vision for our future and actively participates in shaping it. We openly discuss what we want to build together, including our financial aspirations and household income goals. Enjoying life's simple pleasures. She enjoys shared experiences, movies, music, food, travel, and quality time together. Ideally, she can contribute to my business in some capacity, though this is not a requirement. Accountability and mutual growth. We hold each other accountable and encourage self improvement, particularly in fitness, health, and our personal and professional goals. Care and support for my role. She nurtures and takes care of me, allowing me to focus on my responsibilities and ambitions. She is my cheerleader, believing in me, uplifting me, and speaking life into my endeavors. Core values and interests. She has a love or curiosity for spirituality and good community, embracing faith as an essential tool for life. She has a passion for music, sharing this artistry and emotional connection. Physical affection and connection. She uses touch frequently to make me feel loved and connected, reinforcing our emotional bond. Shared passion for sports and fitness. She shares a love for sports and is athletic, making physical activities and fitness a shared experience in our relationship. Understanding her personality and compatibility. Is she naturally anxious or avoidant in relationships? How does this influence her behavior? Does she truly love me for who I am? How does she prefer to communicate? What is her turnaround time for responses? Does she prefer calls or texts? Now that was thorough. Mm, that was thorough. The word said, be mad because they don't fit the criteria, but if they did, he probably wouldn't measure up to hers. That's a fact, too. Can't never be satisfied. Was that a short poem? I don't even remember what I said. Mm-mm-mm. That was a very thorough list. I thought he was describing me until he talked about the athletic part. I can't relate, but beautifully written, very well organized. It touched on a lot of different things. Um, I think it was pretty good. I think that is very clear. There's no room for confusion, and I definitely feel like this is a reasonable list. And there's several women that fit this mold, so it's all about who he aligns with, um, the physical attraction piece, of course, and hey, so let's see what the comments say. Whew. This man says, "Man, I just want someone I'm attracted to and vibe with. This ninja got a wish list." A woman says, "Does your friend know that he sounds like ChatGPT?" Another woman, "Does he have a list of how he will be an ideal husband? Because he's asking a lot if he doesn't." I don't. I think that's a woman. "Single and ready to marry, you say, because mine is equally as detailed." So she interested. Um, is this a woman? Another woman says, "I stopped reading after the first one." Um, Someone else says, "Sorry, but it's giving Chat GPT. Looks like he had a sketch and told Chat GPT to make it more detailed." Okay. Y'all be cracking me up. Somebody else said, "Even though this sounds a little AI generated, this was very eye opening for me as a woman. Understanding how men think and what they desire as a mate, and for him to actually acknowledge these on paper is a green flag." I believe that as well. Another woman says, "I see a lot of hate for this and I don't get it. These are perfectly reasonable standards and desires for a partnership. So many men out here wasting women's time and hurting and leading them on because they don't know what they want. This man deserves props for knowing. There is nothing about this that gives off unrealistically high standards. And I'd say this is my view for an ideal life partner too, which I am grateful to have a man who checks all these boxes." So I don't know why people get their panties, draws, boxers, whatever in a bunch about people having lists. I talked about this list that I had made, and it was really just the list that I was willing to share publicly because I have a couple of lists, and I'm gonna get into those. I'm gonna get into those later. But this was a TikTok. Ooh, I don't want to get banned because you can't say all these different apps. My clock app. I had said this a few years ago in 2022. I was driving and talking loud, so excuse my voice. But let's see. I wonder is it gonna play because I don't have to. I don't have the app on this page. Let's see if I can get it to play. Oh lordy. My app is actually on this phone that I'm streaming from, so let me see. I'm gonna have to download it. While it's doing that, again, this particular list that I had was actually a list that I had written out several years ago, and I posted it on the other app, the blue one that your auntie be on, and it was a lot. There was a lot of controversy behind my desires, and I just was so confused because I honestly didn't feel like I was asking for too much. And really, again, like I said, that's not even my. And it's the first video that popped up as I got on here. Not because I clicked the app either. I mean, not because I was trying to find this. So again, it wasn't my full list. My full list is much more detailed. And I'm gonna let you hear it, and then I will go into kind of the feedback that I was getting from it. Created a list in 2019 of the type of man that I want, and a lot of men, some women, gave me backlash on it. But I honestly don't feel like it's too much to ask for. Y'all tell me. I want a man who's mentally stable, intelligent, conscious but not radical, spiritually attuned, genuine, loyal, respectful, cool AF, fun, shares my interests, teaches me, handsome, tall, preferably between 6'2" and 6'5", healthy, loving, romantic, strong, masculine, heterosexual, emotionally available, supportive, considerate, stylish, well-traveled, financially secure, funny but not overly goofy, understanding, sexually confident and compatible, amazing energy, great conversationalist, provider, protector, no kids but wants kids, family oriented, socially appropriate, happy, open to trying new things, great at conflict resolution, and plant-based or mostly plant-based. Is this too much to ask for? So again, it sounds like a lot because you're just breaking down the type of character you want them to have, but it boils down to compatible, we have chemistry, I'm attracted to you physically, you have emotional intelligence, a great personality, and we share some of the same values as far as health and wanting children. So it's just, for some reason, thank you, Gary says, isn't too much at all. For some reason, when I posted this, men on that blue app that your auntie be on were up and they were just like, good luck finding that. And so it didn't make me feel like it's going to be difficult for me to find it. It made me question, if this list sounds like too good to be true, what type of man are you? What on this list can't you live up to? Now I understand being plant-based, being vegan, I'm lowering my chance. I'm making my dating pool a lot smaller. I understand that. And every man is not tall. I'm a tall woman, so I'm not just requesting a tall man because I want to be unreasonable. I'm 5'9.5". When I put on my heels, I am between 6'1" and 6'3" sometimes, depending on how tall the heels are. So I don't feel like anything on my list is so unreasonable. Like, having emotional intelligence includes having empathy, being able to regulate your emotions, being able to be appropriate in social settings, like know when to turn it on and turn it off, being able to read the room, being a provider, a protector doesn't necessarily mean just give me all your money and risk your life, whatever. We know what that means. When I say having a good sense of humor but not being overly goofy, I'm goofy enough for the both of us. Like, I don't mind a man that is goofy and funny and silly, but there's a limit for me because, yeah, that's just me. What are some of the other things I said that people were so upset about? Conscious but not radical. I think we all know what that means. Like, I love a good conscious man that knows who he is, knows thyself, that is grounded in his spirituality, that is proud to be Black, all of those things. But I also don't need one that is just like preaching and yelling all day on some, like, not even Dr. Umar level, but even higher than that, like just constantly everything has got to be like a big deal all the time. I understand. I think we have to have some balance with that. So little things like that, I don't think it's too much. But again, that list that I shared was just the one that I'm comfortable with sharing with the public. It wasn't even my real list that goes even deeper than that. And I think that it's important to know what you want. And what people don't think about when it comes to lists, your list is your ideal mate. So why would you sit there and write down the things that you don't want or the things that you don't vibe with? This is your perfect ideal mate. That doesn't mean that you're not going to date anyone outside of this scope. It's just a reference. It's a tool. It's a visual manifestation of your innermost desires. So it's a baseline. It's something that you can use to compare to the people that you're dating. Like, what on my list does he have? What doesn't he have? What am I open to? And that's why in my guided journal, How to Beat Single, there is a list in here for you to create your list. Towards the end, when you've done your healing work and your self-discovery work and all of that, when we're working on manifesting your dream life, your dream future, your dream partner, whatever, there's two columns here. One is my ideal partner's qualities, and then the other one is compromise. So, what are your non negotiables, and what are the things that you're willing to bend on a little bit? And that's helpful as well, so that you don't just have a list where it's just like, if they don't fit this, I can't deal with them. You have, you kind of know what you're willing to be open to. And I think that's important. Also, what's important in your list is not just what you want, but how do you want to feel? Um, it's important to be able to tap into that energy and that frequency now, like even meditating on it and trying to tap into that energy of how you want to be, how you want to feel in that relationship. And like someone mentioned, you know, do they are they writing down how they want to be as a partner as well? So you don't just want to have a list of what you want. How do you want to be, and how does it align with that person? Because again, like my friend and coach, my business coach says, you don't get what you want, you get who you are. So look at your list and reflect on, are you the type of woman that the man who fits that description would want? Are you the type of man that the woman that fits that description would want? Are you your type's type? Gary Busted Down Brown, I like that name, says basically wants a good mind, soul, and body is your preference. Absolutely. And I think I can offer that as well. So yes, I think people need to stop tripping about these lists and go write their own. I think maybe it's intimidating them that they feel like they can't live up to the list that they're seeing, or they haven't sat and done the work to actually know what the hell they want. Because it's important to really sit down with yourself and figure out what you want. And it helps you to, it's like a motivation tool as well, to be like, okay, this is the type of person I want. Go even further. What do the type of people that I want, the type of mate that I want, where do they frequent? What are their hobbies? What are their interests? What type of values do they have? Where do they hang out? And does that align with you? If you're a homebody, but the man you describe is outside all the time socializing, is that going to be okay with you once you get in this relationship? Can you handle a social butterfly, somebody that's out there mixing and mingling, club hopping? Maybe he goes to the cigar lounge. Maybe he gives back because he owns a nonprofit, so he's doing banquets and fundraisers and networking all the time. You know, we say we say we like entrepreneurs, but again, entrepreneurs don't have the 9 to 5 man schedule. They don't have a set time where they're clocking in, and you know that they're gonna walk in the door by 6:15 and be on the same routine. An entrepreneur may have to be out there networking. An entrepreneur may have to be in his office locked in doing work. He might have to go do meetings. He might have to travel. Are you able to handle being away from your man, as or not being a distraction to him handling his business? Um, if you want a tall, handsome man, and that's everybody's type, are you able to handle a man that garners a lot of attention? Are you able to handle a man that um, has a lot of options? Are you able to be confident and stand firm and know that you that chick to be able to be a fine man's woman? Are you able to handle a fine man's energy or attitude of him knowing that he's fine as hell? Because some of them have them attitudes of knowing that they fine. Some of them think they finer than you. So there are pros and cons to the great qualities that we look for in a man. So think about the flip side of it as well. Um, the type of man that is a provider and protector, are they generous, or do they have controlling ways? Do they feel like, I'm protecting you, providing you, setting you up with a certain life? I expect X, Y, and Z from you, or I expect you to provide this. The things that you can think of that a man like that will want in return, are you able to handle that? So those are things to consider as well. On top of writing it down, making a list, another type of list that I like to make is not really a list, a digital vision board. So I use a tool like Canva and create like a slideshow of every aspect of my life. So there's, what type of house that I want has its own slide. Well, really, like, what type of woman I am becoming. What does her personality look like? What does her routine look like? Then it's like, what are my business goals? Putting that on the slide. Um, House, like I said, car. Then when we get to relationship, I have photo references of my actual type. I have all of the different categories and lists of character, personality, sexual compatibility, all of the things listed on there, and how I want to feel, how I want the relationship to go. So it's also good to be able to visualize, and what better tool to visualize than a vision board? So again, I have vision boards up here on my wall. I got 4 vision boards right here. But digital vision boards you can keep with you in your phone, carry around. You can adjust them, unlike a vision board here where you pretty much glue down what you need to glue. You can update this type of list. So I suggest lists. Get you a guided journal if you've never made a list, to get you a little bit of guidance, and continue to make them lists, y'all. I'm pro list. So I wanted to talk about a couple of other topics that I saw before we wrap up. I didn't know I was going to be talking about them lists that long, y'all. But again, before we wrap up, the power of lists, they provide clarity, helping you identify what you want, what you are not willing to settle for. Um, Intentionality, of course, it keeps you from getting distracted by relationships that don't align with your values. Y'all know I always talk about them shared values. And self reflection, like, literally, are you the person that your ideal person would want, your ideal partner? Are you your type's type? Confidence in yourself should be the foundation of what you are seeking. Absolutely. Okay. So I saw this news blog or whatever floating around. It was actually published back in December, and it's really old news, but I saw it today, or whenever I saved it, yesterday or today. So it was about the singer Adina Howard, and it said that some documentary she was a part of where she was revealing that she divorced her husband, or I think he might have filed for divorce after 7 years of marriage, because their sex drive didn't align. So speaking of sexual compatibility, she has a song called Freak Like Me, if y'all don't remember, back in the 90s. She got T-shirt in my panties. She got some other songs too, My Nasty Grind. All her songs is freaky. But Freak Like Me, I want a freak in the morning, a freak in the evening, just like me. I need a roughneck brother that can satisfy me. Y'all know the words. So she's telling you what she wanted. Ain't no cap in her rap. Because after 7 years of marriage, she wanted sex 3 times a day, and her husband was only able to keep up with once a day, and sometimes not even that. So he tapped out. He called, he just didn't know. I don't know how he didn't know when she's been talking about it in all her songs. So she's very sexually liberated. I heard she was a Scorpio. You know what they say about them Scorpios. But she got they got married October of 2011. It looks like there was a bit of an age gap, but I wasn't able to find the exact age gap. He looked a little older, but he couldn't handle Adina. I was about to call her Anita Baker. He could not handle Adina Howard's high sex drive, and and I really feel like, if y'all listen to my list, sexual compatibility was on my list. And I think that it is very important to have. And again, as people age, some people have health issues. Some people go through times in their life. Sometimes people go in a different direction and they want to kind of reel back on all the sex. Things change. So you have to really know how important your marriage is and the other aspects of your marriage when sex is not an option, or when sex is not as frequent as you like it, or maybe it's not as satisfying as it once was. is that as important to you to be able to throw the whole marriage away if it's not aligning? Or do you make some adjustments? Do you incorporate toys? Do you incorporate a policy where maybe you're open and you allow your partner to go get their rocks off in other ways? Or do you bring somebody else in? I don't know. I think that's to each person's personal relationships, but I can kind of understand. I've seen, I think it was some place in Asia, some country in Asia where it's no, it's the norm for the women to allow the man to have a sex partner outside of their marriage, or to actually it was to have sex workers, so prostitutes. And it's completely okay because the woman is like, if my sex drive doesn't align with yours, then I still value our marriage. Go handle your business and come back home. You know, it happens here in America as well, but it's not as accepted. So I don't know. I just think that people should be a little bit more open to other things, because I don't think it's fair when one partner is not satisfied sexually. Not saying that they like 3 times a day and he's giving you once. Okay. That's when your sex drive is not just high sex drive. You have a sex addiction at this point. Mm. But when it's just like somebody else is just doesn't have a sex drive and they're not willing to do anything, like I know some older couples where the man didn't have as much energy or sex drive and he started getting testosterone shots. So he was open and willing to do what he needed to do to match his wife's sex drive, which was not an excessive sex drive. It was just a basic sex drive, and she wasn't willing to have a sexless marriage. I know other people that haven't had sex in a long time. One person wants it, one person is not willing to give. And it's very stressful for the one that is wanting the sex. So it's either, you have to make some decisions when you have relationships like that. Speaking of sex addiction, I watched an interview on Carlos King's new show, and he was interviewing Tashira Simmons, DMX's ex-wife, and she admitted to having a sex addiction. I believe she's had one, I think she was saying all her life. So I don't know if DMX was able to handle that with her. But since they divorced, she said that she was just like, had to have sex with men. And she wasn't really connecting with them on an emotional or spiritual level. And they were calling her out about it. Like, damn, I feel like you just using me for my body. And she like, what's wrong with that? Like most men wouldn't complain about that. But then she's had a spiritual awakening and really, um, you know, leaning into her faith. And DMX was the one that really introduced her to Christianity because she grew up Muslim. So now she's on an abstinence journey. I don't know if she's practicing abstinence or celibacy, but she's not having sex right now and hasn't had sex for several years because she did admit to having a sex addiction. So I don't know if Adina Howard has a sex addiction or not, but to not be able to just accept that maybe you're not gonna get it 3 times a day, that is extreme. But hey, she says she want a freak like her, so I think that she deserves a freak like her, and hopefully she finds him. I think she's single now. I don't know what she got going on, but they both respect each other. I think I saw when I was doing my research in the interview when they were talking about their marriage, they still kind of like separated with love. So, what do y'all think? Some of the signs of sexual addiction are using sex as an emotional escape. So, that's how you can tell whether or not it's just you satisfying your physical urges or you just want that intimacy and closeness, and that is the way you express that versus you're trying to escape the things that you're really hurting about. You sad for real, you depressed, and you want to give somebody that depressed pussy, like Megan said, or you trying to give somebody that depression. Get out of here with the depression. I don't want it. Um, Feeling out of control or dependent on sex for validation. Like I know, I know some people who have been through trauma, were abused as children, as aid, and now they're hypersexual. And so they feel like the only type of love and attention they can get is through sex. So they lead with sex. They're willingly giving their bodies, giving fellatio, doing all kind of extra stuff just to have some type of gratification or feel wanted. It's really sad, but that's when you have to seek help, when it's gotten to that point. But a lot of people don't see it. They just think, oh, I'm a freak. No, you're not, baby. You're sad. You're hurting. And then also the inability to form deeper emotional connections outside of the physical intimacy. So a lot of times when people take sex off the table, they ain't got nothing else. And I do suggest to couples sometimes too to abstain even when you're in a relationship and focus on other forms of intimacy, because sometimes you can get lost in just sex, 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 sex. What else we got? We having sex and you still feel empty. Even outside of being a couple, if you're sexually active, having meaningless sex gets old. It gets old after a while. It's just like you still feel depleted, you feel empty, and you feel unsatisfied, even if the sex session was amazing. After the love hormones and all of that shit wears off, you still feel unfulfilled. So if you are out of control and you're just doing this because you want to feel something, even a lot of women are admitting that they're wanting the intimacy, and it's, the sex is overrated. And I'm not saying that I haven't seen men admit that as well, but some men aren't realizing that all this humping around, making babies all over the place, being a freak, being all reckless with their penis. I was about to call you in. You need a hug. You need love. You need somebody to lay you down in their lap, and rub your head and tell you everything's going to be all right, and love on you and speak to your soul and listen to you and hold you and let you be the little spoon sometimes and reassure you. That's all you want. Now, sex is amazing. I'm not minimizing sex and saying that sex is I'm not demonizing it, minimizing it, or anything. But just know that if you feel like that's your only way to show love or receive love, then maybe it's an addiction. Maybe it's a trauma response. But I digress. And if giving and receiving love is difficult for you, please visit oshacerese.com, not only for the journals, but also to enroll in 5 Ways in 5 Days. That is the love language self-love workshop. It is teaching you how to use your love languages to pour into yourself, to do your daily acts of self-love and self-care, and also to uncover those blockages that I was just talking about when it comes to giving and receiving love. 5 Ways in 5 Days is a cute little workshop. You can do it in as quick as 5 days, or you can take your time and do it in 60 days. But if you need some deeper healing, one single step at a time, that's a 6-week guided workshop. It comes with weekly coaching. It comes with the guided journal, How to Be Single. It's included. And we unpacking childhood trauma, relationship trauma, figuring out what you want, what you need, who are you, what do you like, what are your hobbies, what are your interests, how do you pour love into yourself, all of the things, building your confidence. It's really detailed, shadow work, all of that. And then you're going to get into your future plan of actions, holding you accountable, all of those things. And it's weekly coaching. So you get a coaching session every week with that, and the guided journal. And if you feel like you don't need guidance, you don't need any support on your journey, and you just need a tool, just grab you a journal. All of this is on oshacerese.com. So before we wrap up, I wanted to also talk about, if you remember the guy's list that I just spoke about, that second list that I read, the first thing that was on, I didn't even read his list before I got my topics together for tonight. When I read it, it was real time for the first time for me, seeing it and hearing it as well. I saw the caption and I saw the list, I saved it. His first request on his list: shared identity and commitment. She embraces our union by sharing my last name and fully committing to our journey together. Gary Busted Down Brown says, great conversation, great viewpoints. Continue to be a blessing. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. So again, let me read that. She embraces our union by sharing my last name and fully committing to our journey together. Now, The other topic that I had that I wanted to talk about was this other viral post that I saw earlier today. It says the chat on the radio right now. Chat is that a couple has put getting married on hold because he wants her to take his surname, but she wants a double barrel because of she's a doctor. This I'm reading it how it sounds. I told y'all I can read. It's these folks. She's the first doctor in her family, so she wants to keep that name. So basically, a couple has put their marriage on hold because the man wants her to go ahead and take his last name, and she wants to hyphenate her name because she's the first doctor, or she will be the first doctor, or she already is the first doctor in her family. So I'm a, I'm thinking she probably has her father's last name. She wants to give her father that honor for probably raising her, giving her life, raising her, um, bringing honor to their family and their legacy for all the things that he poured into her. I'm sure going through school, all of those hard nights, studying, paying for college, whatever. She wants to honor him by hyphenating it, not just him, but her family. And her husband just wants her to take his last name. Now, I can see both sides. I think that if you really want to get married, things like that shouldn't hinder you from going forward, but I understand how important that is for a man. I personally feel like the compromise there could be the fact that she has her degree in her maiden name. That is an honor. So on your degree, you can have your father and your mother hang that up in your house, in their house, the degree with your name on their doctorate, PhD or whatever. There, that honor will always be there. And then if you want to go ahead and get into your husband's last name and be a practicing physician with his name, and if anything was to happen with y'all, you can always go back to your maiden name. To me, I don't, when I was married, I went to my husband's last name. I didn't hyphenate nothing. And we've been divorced for years, and I just got my name changed, and I'm gonna talk about that too. Um, so it's not that deep to me. I know everybody has their own opinion about it, but I'm feeling like if y'all love each other, y'all already got the marriage planned out. Why postpone it for this one thing? It's a big deal. Last names are important. I get all that, but you got the degree in your daddy's name. Now, it's time for your husband. Like you're moving into marriage. That's just my personal opinion about it. What do y'all think about that? What do y'all think? Because one of the topics that always comes up is whether or not you're gonna drop the name, hyphenate it, or whatever. Um, so I think it's important to respect the individual identities. I get all that. The name is partner. The name is personal. Both partners need to be heard. Then you got to consider your children. It's an important thing. Some couples will actually create a whole new name. Some couples will I've seen some men take women's name. Now, I don't agree with that. I'm a little bit more traditional when it comes to the last name. But hey, whatever floats your boat. Whatever floats your boat. I know when it comes to keeping an ex-husband's last name, I don't hear anybody getting dragged about that more than Drea Kelly, R. Kelly's ex-wife. And I get what R. Kelly has done, what he is currently being incarcerated behind, and it's despicable. Of course, we don't condone the things that he has been charged with. Outside of that, when she married that man, whatever reason she decided to marry him, they have 3 children together. All 3 of those children have his last name. She kept her last name because whatever her reasons are, but mostly because she doesn't want her children to be the only ones that have to carry the shame and the backlash of the Kelly name. She's like, I'm standing 10 toes down with my children, that they're not just going to have to be carrying the name. I'm going to carry it with them. And also for her, she says that also it helps her with recognition so that she can shine light on domestic violence and all of these things that she advocates for. Because if she was just regular old Drea, whatever her maiden name was, nobody would really even be checking for her like they are because of her association with R. Kelly. And I think that people give her too much flack. I've met her a couple of times in real life. First of all, she's beautiful in real life. She's talented. She is not what people see on TV or on the internet. She's not just that. She's not a joke. People have made her dancing classes into memes. She has a dance fitness class for women over 40. So I've attended 2 of them because my mom enrolled in them. And she doesn't just teach dance fitness and give them dance moves and do a little 1-2 step. After the class or during the class, she's empowering the women. She is inspiring them. She's pouring into them, uplifting them, positive vibes, keeping them motivated to keep up because the moves are not easy. You're literally working out. But at the end, she literally walks to each individual woman and speaks to them. She's very spiritual. She's anointed. And I'm not just saying that because I don't say that about everybody, but she has a special gift and she speaks to each woman individually. And what she's saying touches them because you'll see them crying. My mom has broke down crying in her arms because she has a gift. She is using her platform. She is using her skills and her talent to pour into women, to uplift women. And she has a gift and she's sharing it. So I feel like people need to leave her alone when it comes to if she wants to have her ex-husband's last name. At this point, it's her last name. I don't understand why she's the only person that gets backlash. Tina Turner was married to Ike Turner. We know that he had history of abuse and all type of things that he was dealing with. Didn't nobody shame her for keeping her last name. She said that she earned the last name. She worked for it. It was her stage name. That was what she was leaving the marriage with. Nobody says anything to her about, I ain't saying to her presently because she's passed away, but I'm just saying nobody shamed or dragged Tina Turner for keeping her last name. Even Tashira Simmons, DMX's ex-wife, she still carries his last name. There are lots of people, entertainers, regular people that keep their maiden name, especially when children are involved. I think I just recently saw a post that said Tamar Braxton Hubert. Vince was her ex-husband. She still got his name. So if that's correct, but I saw a recent post that said that. So everybody has their reasons. For me personally, when I went to my ex-husband's name, I kind of felt like, there's a lot of controversy around my dad's last name. My dad is very particular about his last name. He don't play about his last name. So sometimes I just felt like, okay, you just so strong about this last name, just have it. Because I don't want to be stressed out about it. It's too much pressure. Okay. So when I went over to my ex-husband's last name, I was fine with it. But when we got divorced, I'm going to be honest, I just was feeling lazy. I didn't feel like going through all of the motions to go get the name change, go get a new social security card, go get a new bank card, go get a new ID, change my emails, all of the things. So I was being a little lazy. And then a little over a year after our divorce, my ex-husband was murdered. And so during my initial grieving period, I didn't really feel right going to change my last name back. I wasn't ready. So, and then I had been through so much with him. I felt like Tina Turner. I didn't earn this last name. Like, if anybody gonna keep the name, it's gonna be me. So I was feeling that way. I want to say maybe like 2021 or 2022, I had actually started the process of getting my last name changed to my maiden name. But then I got the social security card and then I lost it. So I never went and got my ID or anything like that. So last year I did go get the social security card. I had to go through all kind of hoops to get that. I had my divorce papers and all of that, but they wanted the official with the raised seal and all that. I had to request that from Colorado. It was just a lot, but I did go back to my maiden name. But at the same time, a lot of my stuff is still in my married name that I haven't changed over yet. So it's kind of complicated. It's not as easy as it sounds. or as it seems. So give women a break if they still got their ex-husband's names, because after so long, it becomes your last name. If you're not, even if you're not the type of person that's really so pressed about the legacy and what all the bloodline and all of that, after a certain time, it's your name. Like, you've used this name, it's your professional name. Sometimes it's people's stage name. It ain't that deep for everybody. Some, of course, people have children as well, so give people a break. So again, visit ashacerese.com for the coaching. If you feel like you need support, you need some coaching, you want to enroll in a course, you don't really know where to start, just book a discovery call. It's completely free, and I will support you on knowing which direction you should go in and how I can best serve you. If you are an intentional dater, a hopeful romantic, looking for love in 2025, please join the Intentional Love Collective. It is a growing community and database full of singles that I have access to so that I can create these beautiful curated experiences for you. So you can walk in the room and you can meet people who you are actually attracted to, that match your preferences, your values, and your desires. So Intentional Love Collective, it'll be on my website soon, but right now it is in the link in my bio. To go ahead and fill that out. It's completely free. And let me give y'all some journaling prompts to close out today's show. What are your top 5 values in a partner and why? If you don't write your full list out, at least write your top 5 values in a partner and why are they so important to you? How do you currently express love and intimacy? And what does a last name represent to you? Would you be open to changing it in marriage? Or for fellas, is it important for your wife to go to your last name, your surname, however you want to phrase it? How important is it for your woman to take on your name? So I hope you all enjoyed this show. We talked about the great Dr. Maya Angelou. We talked about them lists. We talked about sexual compatibility, high sex drives, and sex addictions. And we also discussed them last names, how important it is. Again, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Tell a friend if you enjoyed this show and you get some gems out of it. Tell a friend. Also, if you have any scenarios, story times that you want to share with me, or anything you want to unpack, that this is your chance to get free coaching anonymously. Just send me an email at oshacerese@gmail.com, OSHACERESE@gmail.com. Again, I will know who you are on the email, but I would not expose that to the show, so it'll be an anonymous letter or whatever you want to share with me to help you out with. AshaCerese@gmail.com. Or if you have any feedback, any questions or concerns that you want to message me about, you can email me there as well. I hope you all enjoyed tonight's show. I have some content to continue to do on another app. And I'm getting ready to do that and do my yoga. Going strong with the yoga, return of the mat, and have a good night. I love y'all. Thank you for tuning in, and I will talk to you later. Good night.